I'm gonna show you guys how to buy vehicles for next to nothing, spend hardly anything on them, and also be able to sell them
and make some money.
Got your attention? Well, stay tuned, because I'm gonna show you how. So I'm gonna show you guys how to give this thing a cheap ass paint job.
Vinny style.
Have you ever dreamed of owning a fighter jet and flying through the clouds? Well, I have, and that's what inspired my vision for today's cheap ass paint job. Roger that, Maverick. I first blasted an undercoat using a gray acrylic paint, allowed it to dry and wet sanded with 1500 grit sandpaper. That gave me a perfect smooth canvas.
Cheap ass. I bought some cheap ass masking tape. This is gonna help draft up my body lines for the panels that I wanna make. The secret is to try to keep the tape nice and straight, because you don't want your lines to be all wobbly, right?
I'm using a 1996 Toyota Supra JDM spec from Japan. The classic smooth stream panels, elegant curves, and high performance engine give it street appeal like no other.
I want to really accentuate this awesome body line. You know, I just want to show it off a little bit, because it's badass. Because if you look at a fighter jet up close, it's actually riveted all together with different panels. So that's the sort of look that we're going to mimic here. Alright guys, so what I did is I actually went to the local car automotive store. I'm sure everyone has one of those locally. And I bought the cheapest can of paint that I could possibly find. So this is actually a satin black. Everyone gets a newspaper here and there. No one really reads them, so you might as well use it to, you know, cover it up a bit so you don't get that overspray on your glass and other areas on the car which you don't want overspray on. Guys, it's extremely important. Make sure that you always shake your can. Give it a good shake, because you know what? If it's not shaking, it's not going to spray well. Don't throw out your newspaper. We try to recycle here, all right? Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. If you're really slick, you can even reuse your masking tape. Now with the hood of the car, I actually mask the body line, okay? Just to sort of go with the sort of groove in the hood. Now what we're gonna do, you can either do this with vinyl wrap, or you can do my style, cheap ass customs, and use a can of cheap spray paint. And that's what I'm gonna do today. Stay tuned, because on other episodes, I'll show you guys how to actually vinyl wrap a whole car, rims, whatever. My favorite part is the classifieds. Give it a little bit of dust. It just helps make the paint stick a little better, okay? Now when you're applying the paint, make sure you go in a nice even motion. Remember, you're not trying to fully cover the hood right now. We're just taking it step by step. We got our first coat of paint on. Allow it to dry for approximately 5 minutes, and then apply your last coat of paint, all right? Don't try to do it all at once, because you're just gonna get runs and drips and it's gonna look slutty. And also when you're removing the paper and the tape, make sure the paint's dry. I find it peels way better. Cheap ass.
A quick sand with 1000 grit to add some character, and off to the next step.
Now what you're gonna need, a marker, stencil. I cut out some stencils here using a hole punch in the desired, you know, distance apart that I want from each other. And it's just as simple as lining it up. What I did here is I actually traced and cut out a stencil, and just make sure that you just mask down all the edges, because we don't want that overspray. If it's like puffing up like that, what I do, just fold a little bit of tape, stick it on the inside. There you go. Remember, just use small bits of tape. Now when you're spraying, spray a little bit at a time, you know, you don't want to overdo it.
Remember, you can build anything. The sky is the limit.